Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here in Sweetwater, downtown. Over there is Sweetwater High School, and there's a historic marker here about General Longstreet and how he was encamped here in November of 1863, prior to the siege of Knoxville in December. The Confederates were on their way to Lenoir Station and up Virtue Road and Campbell Station, and then they went on to have the Battle of Fort Sanders. But this was the location, I guess, where he camped out in Sweetwater. It was the last secure depot on the East Tennessee and Georgia Railroad, south of Union lines. Hey, what's up, guys? I am in Lenoir City, and we've stopped to look at this historical marker here. This is this beautiful mural. Talks about the Battle of Lenoir Station. Longstreet, coming from Loudon via Huff's Ferry and the Hotchkiss Valley Road, attacked Major General Ambrose Burnside at Lenoir Station at dusk, November 15, 1863. Burnside retreated early the next morning via Concord to Campbell Station, now Farragut. So this is just part of that story of the battle. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that Longstreet was coming up to try to take Knoxville from the north. I think there's another historical marker over here. Look, just awesome art on the side of this building. Alright, the Lenoir Plantation. Federal occupation. In 1863, a Union raid on Lenoir Station, now Lenoir City, changed the lives of the family that owned the plantation here. Dr. Benjamin B. Lenoir was one of 4 brothers who owned the property. His wife, Henrietta Ramsey Lenoir, and his father-in-law, Dr. J.G.M. Ramsey, a leading Knoxville physician and a historian. His house is actually in Knoxville. He's got a historic house called the Ramsey House. And his daughter is Henrietta. She mistook the Union forces that destroyed the buildings here as Confederates because they were so dirty and dusty. And then her father, Mr. Ramsey, Dr. Ramsey, told her to take several hanks of yarn and hide money in it, and they snuck it out and hid it under a hedge in the garden. So anyway, this talks about what happened to the Lenoir plantation after the war. They claimed $70,000 in losses. Lenoir City also suffered the deaths of their 2 young sons. In the spring of 1864, Henrietta bore another son but remained deeply depressed. She died May 25th, 1864 at age 30. Now I believe that her grave is over here down the street in the Lenoir family cemetery, that graveyard, I'm sorry, that I just visited. Alright guys, take care. We'll see you at the next one. Hey guys, this is downtown Lenoir City, and I just visited that way. There was a Lenoir cotton mill site that was remaining, and this is the historical marker for that. Built in 1810, between 1810 and 1821. It was one of the series of mills in the community along Turkey Creek, and the only one surviving. They were built by William B. Lenoir, who founded the city, and one of the earliest examples of industrial architecture. In 1890, there were 1,000 spindles operating in the mill. Wood trestles in the building were designed intuitively since truss action was not defined scientifically until 1847. And it burned down in a fire actually later. Hey, what's up everybody? We stopped here at dusk in Lenoir City to see the location of the old Lenoir City Lenoir cotton mill, built in 1821. This is a marker here. The Lenoir cotton mill was built by Major William Ballard Lenoir between 1810 and 1821. It's one of several structures that made up Lenoir Station. Lenoir and his sons also built Lenoir Inn family home, which also served as stagecoach station and hotel, a flour mill, a warehouse, a general store, a brick mill, a planing mill, and a church. Pretty cool. I know this has a lot of Civil War history here. Talks about General Burnside needed information about the South, so he sent Colonel William P. Sanders from Kentucky to destroy 2 railroads that led into Knoxville. And at first he went to Loudon and was unsuccessful because it was heavily defended. But then he came here, and what I understand, this is the only building that was left standing. He left the cotton mill here because it would make clothing for the Union Army. They also captured 65 artillery men and their cannons, horses, and mules. And talks about how he spared this building. Here's an old picture of what it looked like. It says that later Longstreet passed through and liberated the place and made it a southern location for the South. Sanders died of his wounds in Knoxville during the Battle of Fort Sanders, pretty much. That's where Fort Sanders is named after. Sorry it's so dark, guys. We had decided to make one quick last stop, and I wanted to see this place. It's part of the history of Knoxville in the Civil War. We'll see you next time. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's February 17th, 2026. I'm here at Virtue Cemetery. I believe it's called Virtue Cemetery. And I'm here because on the other side of my car over there, there's a Civil War marker about Virtue Road. And in this role in the Civil War, specifically the Battle of Campbell Station. But I wanted to check this out too. It's a nice memorial here. This is a Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Have a neat picture there. And really, the reason I stopped was because over the hill there, and on the other side of my car, there's another historical marker there that's talks about the Michigan regiments that were here during the Civil War in the battle along Virtue Road up here. The South were on their way to Campbell Station, Inn actually, off Kingston Pike, and the North were protecting that and trying to slow them down so that General Burnside could make his escape. A single tree, a single life, one God, one country, one nation. Talks about the casualties of Knox and Loudoun County in Vietnam. Got the listing of all the casualties there, the people. And I thought this was interesting. You see a lot of familiar names. There's Campbell here, Galbraith over there. The story of Nancy Galbraith was she helped some soldiers from the North heal their wounds. 15 soldiers. She was a widow and by herself with her 2 young sons, taking care of a homestead. And then all of a sudden she's got to care for 15 soldiers. But there's a famous story of one of those soldiers writing about his experience with her and how nice she was and all her neighbors. But that family, a very prominent family, is still going strong in Knoxville. I see a lot of Galbraith. Also see McPhee up there. So during the Civil War, the South were trying to make their way to Knoxville, to take Knoxville, because it was a very strategic spot, of course. And this is the location of one of the battles right over this hill, called the Battle of Virtue Road. And soon after that, the Battle of Campbell Station had happened. Then after that, other skirmishes, of course, but then the Battle of Fort Sanders. Well, I probably walked too far already, so I'm gonna go down here and show you guys the Civil War historical marker. Kind of a neat memorial. It shows people in Tennessee who won the Medal of Honor in different wars. And it has the Civil War listed, the Indian Wars, Spanish-American War, Philippine Insurrection, World War I, II, Korea, and Vietnam. And there's a special monument here for Stout from Loudoun County on the other side over there. Cool. Here's another beautiful old tree here. Medal of Honor, 17 Michigan Volunteer Regiment, Turkey Creek and Campbell Station, November 16th, 1863. This is Captain Frederick Swift and Sergeant Joseph Brandel. A lot of the Michigan people were assigned here as the rear guard to protect the North, escaping as the South were trying to chase them up the hill. I believe it was Captain Swift that told his troops that they better move up the hill and form a line on top of the hill because of the cavalry the South had. The horses basically were going to mow them down otherwise, and he helped protect his men that way. And he was awarded the Medal of Honor. It says 17th Michigan has 7 killed and 52 wounded. Alright guys, that's it for here. November 16th, 1863, this battle happened, and it was a very different day. It was cold and rainy and miserable when it happened, and the troops complained a lot about having to deal with this creek here. Little Turkey Creek. Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm here in Farragut, Tennessee. Virtue Road runs right behind me here. And turns out this has important significance in the war, Civil War, the battle for Knoxville. This was an area that a battle took place. Battle of Campbell Station happened the day before this battle, and this is where a skirmish took place. There's also a water wheel over here I'm going to take a look at, walk around. There's a walking path all along this. This marker here talks about this creek and the trouble they had with this creek. You can see this old picture here. There's Kingston Pike. There's some soldiers here. There's also the Battle of Turkey Creek here. The Confederates left Chattanooga to try to take Knoxville from the north. Knoxville is a very strategic location. Let's walk over here and look at this. Diane and I were just driving up this road, and I was like, wow, look at that water wheel. So cool. And she was like, yeah, I think there's a historical marker plaque there. Let's go check it out. Pretty rusted away. Look, it's buried in the mud down there. I'd like to know how old this is. Here's a bench here with a plaque. Someone in the U.S. Army. You can see the walking trail goes all the way down the other side over here. Anyway, this is on Virtue Road in Farragut. See you next time guys. Like and subscribe. Hey everybody, I'm here in Knoxville along Kingston Pike at the Campbell Station Inn, right behind me here. They've got a pretty nice little park here. It's got about 4 different historical markers. Take a look at. It's the Campbell Station Inn. This place has Civil War historical significance. It was built before the Civil War, but General Burnside recognized the importance of this location because it was situated on a hill, and he was being chased by the South, General Longstreet. Settlement of the frontier. 1763, British government set aside territory that would eventually become the state of Tennessee, of the vast Indian reservations stretching west of the Appalachians to the Mississippi River. As always, you know, you can take a screenshot and read all this. I can't say it all. It would be here forever. Looked like there was some archaeological findings here at the house, this area. Talked about David Campbell, who owned this house. Moved his family from Greene County and settled on a parcel of land along Little Turkey Creek, constructed what became known as Campbell Station. David Campbell builds the station, arriving on March 7, 1787. That's when he came here. He settled here. Built a stagecoach station known as Campbell Station. The original blockhouse, as it was called, was built on the northwest corner of present-day Kingston Pike. That's Kingston Pike right here. In 1823, his second wife moved from Campbell Station and was settled on a 600-acre plantation in Wilson County, just outside of Lebanon. The town of Campbell Station continued to grow and thrive in the 19th century. In 1894, an article in Knoxville Daily Journal claimed that Campbell Station did more business than Knoxville for many years. See, back in the day, Knoxville was really just considered UT campus, and West Knoxville was actually the west side of UT campus, not just as we consider West Knoxville today. Here's Kingston Pike, I believe. How they made the road single-sized crushed stone layers of small angular stones. So this is about during the Civil War. The Campbell Station Inn has also been known as the Avery Russell House. Many members of the Russell family lived in the house, and the farm was adjacent to Samuel Martin's, occupied by Matthew Russell, farmer, and his sons, Robert and William. So when the stagecoaches and cattle drivers and other travelers largely disappeared from Kingston Pike with the establishment of the railroad in the mid-1800s, the inns along the highway, like this one, suffered financially, and the Civil War was a very difficult time on what remained of the Campbell Station. During the fall of 1863, the Union's 24th Kentucky and 103rd Ohio Infantry is camped near Concord. Concord is right down that way, and appropriated supplies from several area farms. And on November 16th, 1863, in what is now known as the Battle of Campbell Station, Longstreet's forces clashed with Burnside's Union Army just east of the Campbell Station Inn. Near the church down the road here, he formed a long line that went across Kingston Pike that was blocking the majority of Longstreet's forces, the Confederates, from coming up Kingston Pike. He also had some forces that were coming up from Birchie Road from this direction. That was the Battle of Birchie Road there. a small skirmish. But they were just trying to slow the South from getting here. Alright, well, it says here if Longstreet's forces had reached here first, the outcome of the battle may have been very different. That's very true. This talks about a soldier that was part of the care of Nancy Galbraith. If you look at my other video, you'll hear me talk about her. She was left with 2 sons, and she was a widow, but she had to care for some soldiers that were injured. I believe it was both Confederate and Union soldiers that she had to care for. But this soldier here, actually both of them, talked about their time here. See how he remained nearly a month in her care, and she gave them her secretive stores of food while they were there. And he also gave her the neighbors came over and made a Thanksgiving a memorable one. I'm surprised there was a large dish of molasses candy. This shows Tennessee hospitality. All right, after the Civil War. Talks about the death of Matthew Russell and how they acquired the home. Avery Russell, the son, acquired it, and by 1900 he was the head of the household. Here's a photograph from 1898. Talks about how they own the Russell Seven Oaks Dairy on Concord Road. Concord Road is right down that way. It goes that way. Old pictures of the Russell Brothers Dairy. Says that this house was purchased by the town of Farragut in 2012. As you can see, they have the anchor there in honor of Admiral Farragut, another historical person here. Sorry for the wind, guys. Like I came the wrong time. They're closed. As you can see, it's on the busy Kingston Pike, so there's lots of noise and wind. Here's the front of the house. There's also a marker down here I wanted to look at. So erected in 1914, Bonnie Kate Chapter, Knoxville, in memory of David Campbell. Just over Christmas, they had an awesome Christmas tree contest, I believe, over here. And some large Christmas trees over here in this area. It's pretty nice. Those trees look old, don't they? Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here. We'll see you at the next spot. Hey, what's up guys? I'm right down the road from Campbell Station and Kingston Pike right here, and there's 3 historical markers right here. 1, 2, and then there's another one over here. I'll show you guys. This is right in front of Farragut High School. Robertus Love, a companion of General James White, who founded Knoxville, established his village in this area in 1797, where he had built a fulling mill in 1792. Several of the early buildings still exist a short distance from the highway. The name of the village has been corrupted to Loveville. Let's make sure nothing over here. I visited General James White's house in a different video that I made in Knoxville. Okay, this talks about the Battle of Campbell Station. Battle of Campbell Station. Burnside, pursued by Longstreet from Lenoir Station via Concord, eluded an attempt by General Lafayette McLaws, Confederate Army, coming from Loudon via the Hotchkiss Valley and Kingston Roads. They head him off at the junction of the Concord and Kingston Roads, November 16, 1863. Burnside stood off 3 attacks and then retired to Knoxville that night. Basically, the skirmish started way down there, I believe, at the Concord Church. He formed a line and was able to slow them down all the way down here, and it kept going. I think the hill past Costco is where pretty much the end of it was, but I'm not sure. After that, General Burnside went to Knoxville to regroup. Alright. And this marker is about David Glasgow Farragut, a native of Stony Point. Though his ferry, David Farragut moved to New Orleans at the age of 3. At the age of 10, he began a career with the U.S. Navy. In 1827, pioneered a school for seamen. 1841, improved hoisting machinery for ammunition. And then 1850 to 52, wrote the official book of Ordnance Regulations. He was hero of Civil War battles of New Orleans, Port Hudson, and Mobile. On July 26, 1866, David Farragut became the first admiral in the history of the U.S. Navy. It was pretty incredible. He was able to capture New Orleans without even setting foot on land. They just basically intimidated them. They're like, okay, we give up. From what I understand. That's pretty neat. Alright, we'll see you next time. Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for clicking on the channel. I'm here in Knoxville along 441 back here. Coming out of Knoxville, and there's a state historical marker for Fort Dickerson. It's one of several forts protecting Knoxville. Discover and check it out. There's also a Overlook I wanted to see over here real quick. Lambert Overlook. Alright, so this marker explains about how this was a major defensive spot for Knoxville. It's General Longstreet, which is the south, assault in November 1863. And it talks about who they were manned by. And down here we have the circle platform and steps that lead down. I'm not sure what's supposed to go there, maybe something in the future. Let's just walk up here real quick and we'll see what this overlook's all about. I'm not sure exactly where the fort stood. These, of course, are new apartment buildings, I think. Oh, there's the entrance over there. Fort Dickerson. I guess I'll have to drive back there. Got a rock on that ledge, looks really old over there. I don't know if you can see it. Looks like a little map here. Fort Dickerson Park. Here's 411 and we parked right here. These are trails. Must be the name of that trail here. Wow. Just beautiful. You know, they just recently made that there. Well, that was pretty cool. I'm gonna drive back there and see what all is back there and show you guys. So that was just a beautiful overlook. Let's go drive back here and see what's back at Fort Dickerson on this road. Back through there. Alright guys, we made it up here to the top of the hill of Fort Dickerson, and it's pointing this way. Here's a historical marker. It talks about again how this was a major position for Knoxville. Occupied November 1st, 1863 by the North. And it talks about how they drove away the South from attacking from Sweetwater and Maryville. When they're trying to, General Longstreet was trying to capture this city. Anyway, we're going to walk up here and look at this historical marker at the top of this hill. Yeah, it's very cold. The view from up here is just outstanding. Over there is the University of Tennessee Thompson Bowling Arena. Wow, look at that view. Starting to remind me of Lookout Mountain. Oh wow, look guys, there's cannons up here. So sorry guys, it's really cold. It's gonna be hard to really say all this right here, but take a screenshot or whatever, you can read it. I know it's hard on the TV, or maybe it's easier, but you pause it and all the words show up. Anyway, this says this fort survived over 140 years. Had walls that were 6 feet high. Let's go over here and look at some of these cannons. 3-inch ordnance rifle. So presented by the Knoxville Parks and Recreation Department. It's a nice calm place. I like being the only person here. Definitely a strategic position. Underground magazine, I'm not sure what that was. Oh, look at that. You can see the mountains off in the distance. Back door to Knoxville. Fort Dickerson came under attack only once during the Civil War, in prelude to the 1863 siege of Knoxville. Federal and Confederate cavalry fought for possession of these heights. Its lofty presence, however, served as a detriment until the end of the war. It goes on to talk about Lookout Mountain. Well, you guys can, sorry if I don't have the video straight. You can read this, pause it and read it. with all the little battles along the way. Down here it says actions. Pretty cool. And, you know, I honestly did not expect all this up here. I thought it was just a historic marker for a hill. But this is awesome. It's like a trail goes around here. And the crazy part is we're not even done. There's more over here. Let's go check it out. Put a bench dedicated to someone here. I was gonna see it is dedicated for years of service. James F. Jim Lyle. Wow, look guys. That's Neyland Stadium right there. That's where UT plays football. It's like someone from out of state just pulled up to check it out, so I'm gonna let them look at that historical marker and we'll go walk over here and see what's up. Definitely want to check out the view, but I see something else historical up there. Little plaque. A nice gazebo. Like it's got power too. Alright, let's see what this is. Oh wow, this is the siege of Knoxville. It talks about all the battlefronts. There's the north is blue, of course, the south is red. Look at it, it's beautiful. That's the Holston River here. If you go that way, there's UT Medical Hospital that way. And you can see the sun spear through the tree over there. See if I can get a better view. There's the sun sphere. If you haven't learned about the sun sphere, it's a really cool story with that. Painted to its original blue color. Anyway, let's go see what this is about. There's Neyland Stadium, a nice view from right here. I bet when we get a touchdown, this is a great place to be, all the fireworks that come up. Alright. Oh, this is really cool. An old picture here. You see there's people, soldiers camped out here. And this must be the Holston River, of course, and over here is the UT Medical, and here we are. And we are just looking over here at Neyland Stadium, or maybe over here. Knoxville used to be a Confederate town until they succeeded from the Union in June of 1861. And then Knoxville became a north part of the North. They said it was the most fortified city in the country. There's a little pavilion here. This is a wonderful view. Can't get enough of it. I went to college for a few semesters over there. That's a different story. Let's go check this out. This talks about more about Fort Dickerson and how it was one of 16 forts and batteries that protected Knoxville. And there's actually 3 forts: Fort Dickerson, Higley, and Stanley, that loomed over the Tennessee River. These old pictures here. That's pretty cool. Well guys, thanks for joining me. Thanks for clicking on this video and staying for this long. And we'll see you next time. Hey, what's up everybody? It's February 14th, 2026. I'm at Augusta Quarry here in Knoxville. And this is part of my exploration of some of the forts in Knoxville. The other day I went to Fort Dickerson and I was up here. And I realized later that there's some more stuff down here, some historical markers. So today we parked down here. And I'm just going to go look at it, and later on I'm going to go over here to Fort Higley. I also tried to find Fort Stanley, which is not really developed at all. And I believe it's in this area over here. It overlooks Chapman Highway on the hillside behind Shoney's. But this is a cool map, shows a lot of the trailheads. Let's go see what's up over here. As you can see, there's a lot of parking here for the quarry. Come here and swim when it's warm. Nice public park. It's like a walking path up that way. And here's some stuff on Fort Dickerson. The war began in 1861. General Burnside with his sideburns. Ah, here's a good map. It shows Fort Dickerson, which is actually up there. And then Fort Stanley was further that way. And then Fort Higley, which I'm going to go to next, is a little further this way. And this would have been, you know, where University of Tennessee is. This is interesting. This is where Fort Stanley was. Looking at Fort Dickerson, and right now Chapman Highway runs right through the middle of these. Talks about the marble quarries here. Now it's not a mining quarry, it's a public park. Here's another map. Very nice bathrooms over here, restrooms, some seating area. Alright, let's look at what we came to see. It's beautiful. Before, when I was filming down, I was way up there on the top, right there. Looks like you can take this path all the way down around the side here to get down to their dock down there. Alright guys, let's go check out Fort Higley. We'll see you there.